Okay, here we go. Starting off my list at number 10, I have Alec Manoa. What the heck happened to Alec Manoa? This guy was on top of the world last year. Look at his numbers from last year at 24 years old. He went 16-7 over 31 starts, almost 200 innings pitched, an ERA of 2.24. The FIP and the xFIPs were higher, but they were still really solid at a 3.35 and a 3.97. The 3.97 xFIP suggested that he was probably going to come back down to earth a little bit, but not crashing back down to earth like he has this year. Look at the ERA at a 6.36. Look at the FIP at a 6.53. Look at the xFIP at a 6.08. These are atrocious numbers. The strikeouts are down. The walks are way up. It seems like to me the pitch clock has probably affected him the most. You know, we all know Alec Manoa is a bigger guy. I don't know if maybe the cardio came into play. He's lost his command. He's walking guys left and right. He's got all these blues here with the expected numbers after having a lot of reds last year. I mean, it's crazy to see how this guy has just come crashing back down, and recently just getting optioned back to the FCL, down to the minor leagues to try and work on some things. We'll see if he comes back up, but man, this is pretty nuts to see, after how good he was last year. At number 9, I have James Paxton. Now let's talk about the opposite. Let's talk about a guy that hasn't really done anything in the last few years and is doing really well this year, James Paxton. I know what you're thinking. Here's Giraffe Neck Robbie, but hear me out. He's doing really well this year. 5 starts, 26 innings pitched, a 3.81 ERA, a 3.55 FIP. Look at the strikeouts, 12.5 per 9, 3 walks per 9. He's doing really well. The velocity is looking pretty good too. He was averaging right at around 95 miles an hour back in 2021, and now this year it's up to 96 miles an hour. This guy was throwing 97 on the corners in his last start. He's been looking really good. Very happy to see what this guy has been doing. He had only made 6 starts combined in 2020 and 2021. Didn't even pitch last year at all. It's a feel-good story. It's really good to see this guy back on the mound. He was so good with the Mariners, had a little bit of success with the Yankees back in 2019. Hey, I love what he's doing here, and I feel great for the guy. Happy to see him back on the mound. But honestly, just thinking about how little he has pitched over the last few years and seeing how well he's doing now, that's pretty crazy to me. At number 8, I have Trey Turner and Carlos Correa underperforming. Remember the big class of free agent shortstops we had this past offseason with Dansby Swanson, Xander Bogaerts, Trey Turner, and Carlos Correa? Well, Dansby Swanson, Xander Bogaerts, they're okay this year. When you combine the offense and the defense, they have been having pretty decent seasons when you look at the Fangraph WAR. When it comes to what they're making in dollars, it looks like they are going to outperform what they make in dollars when it comes to their field performance. So I'm not really worried about these two guys. Sure, maybe they could pick it up a little bit more with the bat, but their defense has been really good, and it's honestly been invaluable for their teams. But when you look at guys like Trey Turner and Carlos Correa, these guys have really been struggling this year. When you take a look at what they're doing on the field right now, Trey Turner is on pace to only be worth $16 million this season, while he's making $27.3 million this season. While Carlos Correa, he's only on pace to be worth $5.7 million, and he's making $33.3 million. Now, when you look at the total salaries, they're both making over $60 million. And when you combine what they're on pace to be worth, they're on pace to be worth a combined $21 million. That is just simply crazy. When you look at the numbers from Trey Turner, this guy was balling out in the World Baseball Classic, and it has not translated to this year. 60 games so far, has been healthy, but only hitting 240, an on base of 283, a 394 slugging, a 79 WRC plus. He's given you a little speed with 8 stolen bases. The defense has been okay, but man, really kind of a bust of a contract so far. As for Carlos Correa, the numbers are no better at all. 51 games, hitting 208, a 298 on base, 375 slugging, and 88 WRC plus. Same thing with him, decent defense, but man, these guys have just been completely atrocious so far this year. And to me, that's just really surprising, considering how good these guys have been in the past and, what they're making in terms of dollars. Let's see if these guys, can turn it around. They're great players. I think they could have better second halves, but it's pretty crazy to see, how this has been unfolding for both of these guys. At number 7, I have the AL Central. The AL Central has always been a pretty weird division. Usually you have one team that's pretty solid at the top, and then the rest of the teams are usually under 500. It's never a good division. But this year, it's just really bad. The Twins right now are only 31-30, one game above 500, while the other teams are under 500. But it's also crazy to me. Like, the Guardians were a pretty solid team last year, young players who should get better, and then they made some additions in the offseason, like, Josh Bell, for instance, but, underperforming 6 games under 500, the negative 32 run differential. The White Sox to me are extremely surprising. They have been playing pretty decent lately. Let's see, if the talent of this team can get them out of that hole, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what ends up happening there. The Tigers, they were looking pretty decent a couple of years ago, but they've come back down to earth. They lost Riley Green. They've lost 5 straight games. So I think the Tigers, I think they're pretty much done for at this point. But it's just such a weak division. Like I said, it's always been a pretty weak division, but this year, it's more weak than any other year. So I'm going to have to consider that pretty surprising. At number 6, I have the NL Central. Let's shift over to the National League and talk about this division. What the heck is going on with this division? I mean, I'm seeing the Cardinals in last place at 25-37. They've been playing bad baseball lately. They got hot there for a little while, but now they've just cooled off extremely. They've lost 5 straight games at the time of this recording, 2-8 in their last 10. That's just crazy to me, considering this was a good team last year. They were looking really solid coming into this year. I mean, a lot of projections out there were picking them to win the division. And then you see a team like the Pirates at 32-29. They got off to a really hot start, cooled off in May, but they have been playing a bit better so far this month in June. This division is just so weird. Not one team is in the positive run differential. We were just looking at the AL Central, talking about, how bad this division is looking, but at least the Twins, sure, they got the 31-30 record, but they've been a pretty decent team. I think the Twins are better than what their record suggests, but if you're just looking at record, it's no bueno. But they do have the positive run differential, but when you're looking at this division, I mean, my goodness, not one team is in the positives. The Brewers at -20, the Reds at -32, the Pirates at -2, Cubs at -2. The Cardinals are neither negative or positive. I don't know. This division is just weird. The Pirates have been a pretty, feel-good story this year because they're ahead of expectations. It's going to be really interesting to see how this division shapes up. Right now, the Cardinals are 8.5 games back. Could they climb their way back into this thing? I mean, they got a lot of talent on this team. I'm not sure what to make of this division right now, but seeing the Pirates in second place right now and the Cardinals in last with this kind of a record, that is shocking to me. Sponsoring today's video is Sorare MLB, a fantasy baseball game using digital cards licensed by Major League Baseball. To get started, click the link in the description down below and stay tuned until the end of the video to learn more. At number 5, I have Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is having another good season. He is on the IL right now. He has missed some time this year. He's been limited to 49 games, but again, the numbers are really good. Hitting .291, a .404 on base, .674 slugging, 19 homers, the .188 WRC+. Aaron Judge, man, when this guy's healthy, this guy just does so much damage. If he were to have been on pace to play 150, 155 games, he definitely would have had a shot at another 60 home run season. We haven't seen back-to-back 60 home run seasons since 1998, 1999 with Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. Aaron Judge, man, this guy is just phenomenal. But even if he doesn't get the back-to-back 60 home run seasons, he definitely has a chance, I think, at winning another MVP award. We haven't seen back-to-back MVP awards since Miguel Cabrera in 2012 and 2013. I think we have a shot here. Aaron Judge made history last year. Can he make more history this year, winning another MVP award and a back-to-back MVP award? At number 4, I have the New York Mets and San Diego Padres. What the heck is going on with these two teams? Look at the New York Mets right now, 30-31. They're 4-6 in their last 10. They've lost 4 straight games. And the San Diego Padres are 28-33, 4-6 in their last 10 as well. These two teams have been underperforming this year. The Padres can't hit with runners in scoring position. The Mets have had really inconsistent pitching, both in the rotation as well as the bullpen. The starting pitching for the Mets has been a little better lately, But whatever. The whole point here is these two teams right now have a combined record under 500, both teams under 500, and what makes that so significant is these two teams are paying these players a ton of money. The Padres payroll right now is an estimated $250 million, while the Mets is right at around $360 million. That's over $600 million, and these two teams are both under 500. That is absolutely nuts to me. I don't know what the heck is going on. We got a lot more baseball left in this season. These two teams are absolutely talented enough to turn this around. I don't know. This is shocking to me. At number 3, I have the Texas Rangers run differential. The Rangers recently got some bad news, finding out Jacob deGrom is going to need Tommy John for the second time in his career, but the offense has been completely fine. The pitching has actually been pretty good too, even without Jacob deGrom. But this Rangers offense is absolutely insane. As of right now, the Rangers are 40-20 and have a run differential of 155. They're on pace to have a run differential of 418. If we go look at the all-time highest run differentials, we got the 1884 Maroons at 458, and behind them, we got two Yankee teams, the 39 Yankees, the 27 Yankees, two of the best offenses of all time. But I said the Rangers are on pace for a run differential of 418. The 39 Yankees were at 411. So right now, according to my math, I think I can do some math here. That would be the second highest run differential of all time. And that would be the highest run differential in the modern era starting in 1900. So this Rangers offense is absolutely insane. If we go take a look at the numbers since May 1st, I'm not counting April because the Rays offense was insane in the month of April. So the Rangers offense was pretty good too, but the Rays were just on another level. But going back to May 1st, going to today, the Rangers have the best offense in Major League Baseball. Since then, they've been hitting 296 with a 351 on base, a 476 slugging. They're driving in runs left and right. This offense is absolutely nutty. I'm not surprised about the Texas Rangers, being in this spot, being a good team this year. I was worried more about the health of the team, the depth of the team, but so far it's been all working for the Texas Rangers. I did see a pretty decent team, but I'm going to be honest. I know this offense was good coming into this year. I didn't think it was going to be this good, and the fact they're on a historic pace right now, I think that's pretty awesome, honestly. To me, the Rangers, this team, they could be really dangerous if they make the playoffs. At number 2, I have Ronald Acuna Jr. Holy crap, this guy is on pace for a historic season. This was my MVP pick back in 2021. He was going to win that MVP if he didn't tear his ACL. He came back last year. It looked like he was still kind of getting his feet under him a little bit, but this guy has been insane this year. It's like he's been on a mission this year. 60 games, hitting .329, a .404 on base, a .558 slugging, a .159 WRC plus, 12 homers, but he's got also 26 stolen bases. This guy is on pace as of right now for a 30-60 season. We have never seen that before. We have seen some 40-40 seasons. We've had Barry Bonds, Alex Rodriguez, Jose Canseco, and Alfonso Soriano. We also have a 30-50 club where Barry Bonds is also in that category, as well as Eric Davis. Eric Davis, my goodness, I got to make like a separate video on this guy. This guy, I think, could have been one of the best players of all time. Hey, look at the stretch, kind of a side note here. Look at the stretch that Eric Davis had over a 100 or a calendar year from June 8th, 1986 to June 27th, 1987. This was a 162 game span. He had 46 home runs and 99 stolen bases. Could you imagine if someone had a 40, or a 50-100 season, or even like a 40-90 season? That's insane to me. Eric Davis, man, we might have to make a separate video on that guy. Anyway, I digress. Ronald Acuna Jr. is on pace for a season that we haven't seen before, a 30-60 season. That's absolutely incredible. This guy has just been out of his mind this year. I've just been loving what he's been doing. At number 1, I have the Oakland A's. My goodness, this team stinks. They have to completely move out of the state to get the stench of this season off of them. They're going to be in Vegas soon, and I think that they can't wait to get to Vegas because this is absolutely atrocious. They're 14-50. They're on pace for 126 losses. If we take a look at some of the most losses of all time, the Cleveland Spiders have the most losses of all time back in 1899, but since the start of the 1900s, the most losses in a season belong to the New York Mets in 1962. They would be, if they were to end up with 126 losses, that would put them second all-time behind the Cleveland Spiders and number one all-time since the start of 1900. I mean, that is absolutely insane. Sure, they've had a couple of good things on this team. Brent Rooker got off to a really good start. Esteury Ruiz could end up being a pretty decent prospect down the road. They've had a couple of decent pitchers on the team, but I don't know, man. We had the Detroit Tigers back in 2003, but that team at least had guys that could log innings. There's not a whole lot of pitching on this team. You got a couple of bats here, but it's pretty crazy seeing how bad this team has been and what we could end up seeing if they stick to this pace. But that's my list. Tell me what you think down below in the comments. I know I'm probably missing something, so let me know in the comments, what are some of the most crazy things that you have seen this season? What do you think of my list here? Would you move some of these up or down? Let me know what you think. If you can, hit the like button on the way out. Subscribe if you are new, but that's all I have for right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Sorare MLB is a fantasy baseball game licensed by Major League Baseball that is completely free to play. You manage your own team of major leaguers with digital cards. These are cards that you collect, but you can also buy them, sell them, or even trade them. These cards will make up your roster that will compete against other players all around the world. To get started by drafting your team so you can compete against other players all around the world, click the link in the description down below.